OpTic here along
YouTube. How the fuck you doing?
Wake up, bitch!
Okay. Are you going? Or
No, I'm still not doing it.
Anyway, so over the weekend, I was at PAX, these guys were home, and collectively we decided to part ways with Joey, MerK, DeLuca. One of the toughest things that we've ever, I mean, it's tough every single time that we part ways with people. It's never an easy thing, especially because, you know, us as OpTic, we become so closely ingrained with our fans that everybody's always going to have a problem when transitions like these happen. So it's a tough thing, and we all have, you know, something to say about it. So I guess we'll start from my left to the right.
Yeah, so, I mean, obviously I've been teaming with Joey for the past 3 years, and I thought the easiest way to make you guys understand, because obviously you don't see a lot of behind the scenes things, so this probably popped up out of nowhere. It looked like everything was going really fine, and then, you know, out of nowhere we ended up dropping a player. So I thought the easiest way to go about this would give you kind of a time frame, and it went all the way back before we even moved into the house. There were obviously some complications going on, and Joey just didn't really feel the same. If you watched his video that he posted, I think yesterday, the day before, he talked about how he kind of had like just a rough patch, I think he called it, or an attitude, but it was almost to the point where we felt like it was a depressive state, to the point, and we wanted to help him really bad. We tried multiple times. I know I saw a lot of tweets yesterday. I actually got really mad looking at Twitter yesterday and went off on somebody.
Dude,
I apologize.
I got super mad.
Yeah, I apologize to the kid that I went off on, but I just couldn't take it anymore because, but then I started to realize that you guys don't see everything, so I don't expect you to understand until we came out with the video, so that's fine. So I apologize to Beasley there, but
Yeah, 1 second to cut you off
go
real quick. Before we get into this kind of time frame of how everything happened, we want you guys to know that we don't just drop a player who we've been teaming with for 3 years, who's been in the organization, we've been really good friends with. Joey's the first person I ever went pro with, and I'll always consider him a friend. We don't just do these things for no reason. You guys think that we don't really have insight as to the decisions that we're making, and that's kind of the issue, is that the behind the scenes, in the house, real life, that's something that we keep separated from YouTube and streaming that you don't see. So it didn't just happen for no reason. We're going to give you guys the reasons. We're going to present them in a formal manner so that you guys can make a decision on if you thought this was a good or bad idea.
And typically we don't make these kinds of videos. We didn't make this video when we decided to drop JCap, and then when we decided to drop Rambo. Okay, well, but we don't make these videos, right? It's something that we try to keep, you know, inside of the team, because it's team talk, and I know that a lot of you, like the 99% of you, will always respect the fact that there are things that are handled within team and don't necessarily have to be in the public side. So, sorry, you can keep going.
right, yeah. As they were saying, we don't want to divulge into people's personal lives. It's not fair to Joey. It's not fair to anybody. So, but moving into the house, we thought when we got confirmation, like I said, it was before we even moved into the house. It's been going on for 4 to 5 months. So people who were tweeting saying that, you know, it's happened, you know, overnight, that's really not the case. We just can't show everything like Matt said on YouTube streaming. You know, we're not going to go into that. We're not the freaking real world. We're not showing everybody our in-house problems. But we thought when we got confirmation to move into the house that was going to be a fix. We were going to be here. We were going to be able to focus exclusively on Call of Duty, all of these outside phenomena we wouldn't have to worry about, and it actually just ended up making it worse. Ever since we moved into the house, you know, we've had multiple talks with Joey. I also saw tweets saying, you know, why wouldn't you help? Why wouldn't you help your friend? We tried over and over again, and every time we would have these talks, I'd say group talks. There were probably 4 or 5, and I know Matt's going to talk about some of the individual one-on-one talks he had with Joe. But every time we would have these talks, it would seem like everything was going to get better until literally the next day, within 24 hours. And it got to the point leading up to like Gfinity, where Joey was kind of like shutting off his streams without saying anything to anyone, kind of leaving his fans sitting there hanging, and we're telling him, we're like, man, you know, it's kind of funny at first, but that's hurting our brand, that's hurting you as a player, and people are wondering, your fans are wondering, you know, like why they're stranded out there. And he understood that, he got that. So after Gfinity, you know, he went back home to visit a little bit, and he came back, and the last talk we really had was last week. And we sat down and we were trying to figure it out. Again, like I said, we've been going through this same problem for months and months and months. And it got to the point where October was coming up. We have a lot of tournaments. We needed this negative attitude out of the house. So we asked him, we're like, Joey, what can we do to help you? And he said nothing. Joey said there was nothing that we could do to help him out. He said that he was sad. We asked him why he was sad. He said he didn't know. He said being in the house, he didn't enjoy it. He didn't enjoy it since he moved in. He said that's why he was actually going home early was because that he was miserable in the house, and we didn't know what to do. We kept asking. We didn't know how to make it better, and it got to the point, and really like the final nail in the coffin for me was I've been teaming with Joey for over 3 years now, and I've always considered Joe a good friend, and me and Joey have done things that we'll probably take to the grave with us, to be honest. Like, we'll never tell other people. And whenever me and Matt left the room after that meeting that day, he ended up saying that he didn't consider myself and Matt to be a friend of his, that I was just a teammate. So I was kind of taken back by that. Obviously, that was right before I went to visit home, and once that happened, if you listen to what we preach for the past few years, it's that you need to get along inside and outside the game. That's how you build a successful team. That's how you build a successful organization, and that's how you live with somebody. When you're with somebody 24/7, obviously you've got to get along with them. So, once I heard that, I think he ended up going and saying that he enjoyed JCap and Proofy more than anybody else in the house. So, to say that when you're living with people and after 3 years, multiple championships, like I said, going through a lot of fun times with Joe, I was taken back by it. And how would you respond to something like that? I don't know how to. I've never been in that situation. I don't know how to deal with that situation. And for him to say there's nothing that we can do to help him, we exhausted all of our other options.
And we were pretty oblivious to that at that point. We thought everything was fine. Obviously there were days where Joey just didn't seem like himself, and that's kind of been that way since he moved into the house. The Joey that I knew when I was teaming with him in 2010, was lively, excited, and just, he was just stoked on life. And then coming into the house, and that conversation that we had with him about a week ago, literally the exact conversation with him was, Joey, like, what's up, man? Like, we can tell something's wrong, something's going on. You can talk to us. We're your friends. He's just like, I'm just sad. And we asked him, well, why are you sad? This conversation literally went on for 30 minutes. We asked him, why are you sad? He's like, I don't know. And I said, well, what can we do to help? Nothing. And I said, well, are you sad when you're at home? Are you sad when you're at school with your girlfriend? He's like, no. Just casually just said no. And I asked him, well, that doesn't make any sense. So you're sad when you're at the house, but you're not sad when you're at home. He said, yeah. So basically, we knew that we were the problem. And then when we found out later that day, when he told Seth and Hector that he didn't consider Will and I friends, even though I've had multiple conversations with him on a personal level about the house and about dealing with everything that we deal with, and about dealing with YouTube and Twitch and competing while trying to entertain people, we just knew that it had to go somewhere. We had to make a change, and it had to be done, because when someone's sitting there and telling you that he's sad being here, like he doesn't enjoy it, and he enjoys being at home, but then he tells us he doesn't want to leave the house, it didn't make much sense to us, it didn't click, and I had no idea what to do with the situation. So, we had to remove him from the team so that we can continue on and try and win a championship. We have 5 major tournaments in October, and if we're all not on the same page mentally, then there's no way you're going to win. Chemistry and communication is a huge thing in Call of Duty, and if you don't have those two things, you're not going to find success. Now, Joey is somebody who kind of struggled with dealing with not getting the same amount of views as Seth or I, or not getting the same amount of views as other big YouTubers. And this is something that I've actually talked to him personally about multiple times. We've had conversations at 2 in the morning about him not getting the same amount of views as Seth and I, and just it's not going as well as him as it is for us. But one thing that I think it was hard for him to realize is that I've been doing this since 2010. I went through 2 years of getting like 5,000 to 10,000 views a video. I went through an entire year of getting like 5,000 views like a video, and then just trying to figure out where I go from here. I'm trying to make a career out of this, and it just wasn't working out. But that for me was motivating. That for me was something that I wanted to strive to do better. I wanted to get more views. I wanted to entertain everybody. And it just, like, when I saw everybody getting bigger than me and getting more views and just being more popular, that lit a fire under my ass. And you guys know that. I've told you that multiple times. But for Joey, since he was living in the house and he was in that atmosphere all the time, he was just really, really discouraged by it. And he just wanted to know, why isn't it happening for me like it is for you guys? Why am I not getting this? Why? And it was just for him, in my opinion, it's something that he didn't really want to work towards. He told us that, I asked him, why aren't you streaming? He said, I'm bored. I don't want to stream. It just seemed like he expected it to just happen because he was winning championships. In Modern Warfare 3, when OpTicBigTymeR was the most dominant team on the scene, and they basically won every single tournament, he thought that that was going to make him big. He thought that that was going to get him more followers and more subscribers. And it did. If you go look at his Twitter account, he's got over 100,000 subscribers.
He still has a lot.
And if you go look at his YouTube channel, his videos do extremely well. He gets around 30 to 40,000 views a video. And when he was live streaming, he was getting around 2 to 3 or 4K views. And when we weren't streaming, at one point he had 8,000 or 9,000 views.
The problem, I think, was, and it's tough, right? Because as he said before he moved in, he's like, it's gonna be tough for me because I'm gonna be moving into the house with 2 superstars, right? Obviously referring to Matt and not you, to Matt and Seth, right? And I said, why, man? You know, Matt has gone through like the toughest path, right? Because at that point we weren't what we are right now, right? It's a lot easier for everybody else that's in the organization to get bigger because there's more exposure to them. We're in the same room, we're in the same house. To me, the whole thing, and I mean, I don't know if we want to break the rotation, but to me the problem was just worried, right? I've never want to make that decision based on performances, based on, you know, on in-game, you know, mishaps, right? I've never done that. Losses, I take losses like I take my wins, right? It's part of the game. To me, I was more worried about him, right? I tried to talk to him as many times as I could. Every single time that we did something, we invited him. Like for the 1 week, right, that we played Minecraft together, the first thing we did was, it was just me and Big Time first. When he saw that me, the Big Timer, and I were fucking having fun on Minecraft, this guy decided to jump in. And then like,
I never thought I'd like Minecraft, and I started playing with them, and I had a blast.
Well, whatever. Like we looked over at Joe. Joe like, Joe, come play with us. And he said something to me that struck me, but I didn't say anything because, you know, whatever. And now I understand it a little bit more, right? But he said, no, that's your thing. And then at first I was like, all right, well, maybe he doesn't like Minecraft. But that's not what he meant. Now realizing, you know, after having conversations with him about him not being happy here, about him, you know, receiving messages from people that are close to him saying, I'm worried about him, I became worried myself. And I should have seen when he said, that's your thing, I should have been like, we're a team. My thing is your thing, you know.
Although that's very true, I just want to make sure that you guys know, I don't mean to cut Hector off. I've had so many personal talks with Joey about, you know, dealing with this and dealing with feeling excluded and trying to like conquer that in his own mind, like, hey, you're our friend. We're not excluding you. To be honest with you, Joe, you need to get past that, man. We consider you a family. We've been teaming with OpTic Gaming for 3 years. We were the first OpTic Gaming pro team. I just don't understand like what he was going through, and we tried to help him. You know, I've been getting a lot of tweets and a lot of comments on YouTube that you didn't help a friend, you didn't help somebody who you consider family, when that's not the case at all. That was something that was left out of Joey's video that I've talked to him multiple times for hours.
I even talked to him. Like in the gym and stuff, I was his gym buddy. We had talks all the time, and it just always led to the same things, and it was just sad to hear it from Joey himself. And he basically was saying that he thought Matt and Will had like an alliance against him, and he said in his video yesterday that he makes things up in his head and he plays himself out as an enemy. I think that's something along the lines of what he said. And in reality, he could have played Minecraft with them whenever he wanted, and it's sad that he thought in his head that he like strictly could not join them because that's exactly what he thought. Like he could not play with them.
Like, and you know, speaking of the gym, right? Like, there was times when Seth went home for those 2 to 3 weeks.
Oh my God.
That.
Let me talk about that. Okay, so when we first moved into the house, guys, I was an absolute wreck. I have grown to the house like no other. I absolutely love it here now. I consider this a home. But the first couple weeks, especially since I never had a college experience, I was literally a mental wreck. Like, I hated being here. I hated everything about it. I didn't want to work. I just didn't want to do anything because I felt unnatural. I wasn't at my home. I wasn't where I've been for, you know, my whole life. So it was really weird for me, and I'm so glad that I've grown onto the fact that this is really an opportunity that people would, you know, kill for. It is really an opportunity that is so amazing and so great. And I didn't realize that until just recently whenever I came back from my visit from home again, because I went back again, and it really is an opportunity that comes once in a lifetime, and it really is a blessing. And I love it here now, and it's great that I can have this opportunity to work here. So I'm glad that I sort of got out of that.
So on that, like when Seth was home, these guys would go to the gym. I would be upstairs typing an email, and they would say, "Joe, you want to go to the gym?" And he would say, "No, that's your thing. I'll go by myself." Like it was the small things that I should have caught on to, but you know, I've always been in this house, and I preach this daily. We are dudes. If there's a problem, we talk about it. We're not gonna be like, hey,
We're not gonna pussyfoot around.
no, right. And that's something that I talked to Joe so many times about. Like, bro, please let me know what the problem is. We'll work through it like we work through everything else. And when I'm getting messages from his girlfriend saying, I'm worried, you know, I've never heard him talk like that. What is
Lines
that?
here.
Get out of here.
Of course.
Oh, I hit it.
Yo, you smacked the hell out
All
of me.
right. No, but
It's inhumane though.
no, it's not. So, like, when I'm getting messages from his girlfriend says, like, I'm worried about him, I've never heard him talk like that, like, immediately I get worried because I'm not, I don't want to call myself the daddy, right? But I'm older, I have more experience, I know what type of damage mental instability can cause for somebody. Depression is nothing to fucking
I
joke
wouldn't
about.
even call it mental instability. I would call it stress.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Stress
that's you
That's
being
what
that
causes
mentally
it.
there. Because there's no physical, there was nothing physical going on. There was like, no, he wasn't being abused or anything. It was all mental, right? And I try to talk it, I try to talk him through it, I try to talk him out of it. But when he's not talking to me and he's talking to like somebody else, and that somebody else tells me, he's like, I'm worried, I'm gonna be fucking worried, you know, because
That's true.
because the last thing I want is somebody to be in a position to where they're just fucking stressed out of their minds, right? You know, being homesick is something that like we talked with him for 3 days. So we're like, bro, go home, come back, you'll feel refreshed, and he did. Unfortunately for Joey, who I care about a lot, you know, I saw, you know, we saw working with him, talking to him just never helped. And I'm not gonna keep somebody around that's just gonna be putting himself in harm's way by fucking staying somewhere where he is not happy. And that, you know, that's only part of the reason, guys. So the only reason we're making this video is because we want you guys to understand that it hurts for us to have to do this, right? To have to make that decision to do that. We love our team. We love our chemistry. We love who we are. So much that we didn't go out and say, all right, we're going to try to sneakily talk to Clayster, sneakily try to talk to Krim or Killa or somebody else. We knew that if we brought someone back, it was going to have to be somebody that knows what OpTic is, what the family of OpTic is. And the person that was going to fulfill Joe's role was going to be Jacob. And
JCat plays the exact same role. He's won multiple championships with BigTymeR. He's won multiple championships under the OpTic Gaming organization. But before we go on to talking a little bit more about the player that we did pick up, I think one of the things that we all wanted to talk about before we end this video, and I think I speak for BigTymeR and Scum, is that there's kind of a misconception that MerK is more dedicated to playing Call of Duty and to winning than us. And that's something that kind of bothers each one of us personally, because there was 1 week where, there's been multiple weeks actually, where Scum and MerK were both out of the house, and BigTymeR and I were the only ones here, and we were the only ones, you know, trying to work on our channels and trying to work on our Twitch TV live streaming. And I know it's easier for me because I live in Illinois and this is where I'm home. My parents, or my dad is 40 minutes away, as long as with my grandparents and everything like that. And I'm really bad with visiting because I'm always here streaming, and I'm always here making a video or something like that. But if you were to go back and you were to look at it statistically, if you look at our gamer profiles, Scum and I probably have the most time played on Call of Duty, probably more than anybody in the Call of Duty community. Just because we're not practicing playing scrims and playing 8s and stuff like that doesn't mean we're not playing Call of Duty. BigTymeR.
It should also be understood that, you know, after Gfinity, like Matt said, Seth and Joe were going home, which was fine. I mean, we had almost 3 months until our next tournament. We're not mad about that or anything, but we were in the house we were all 4 back in the house like last week for 1 week, and that's when people are drawing all these conclusions that like Joey's grinding COD when you're on Minecraft. It should be known that everyone in the house, including Joey, last week said that we should not scrimmage. We should not play Call of Duty. Where are you going?
getting water.
Oh, yeah. It was agreed upon all of us, including Joey, that we should not play Call of Duty because him and I were going home this past weekend, and it would take 5 or 6 days break. We would lose all the progress we made in that previous 4 or 5 days. So we didn't need to play Call of Duty. Obviously, you have these, like, the new pro point system. We've made a video about that. I don't want to go into it. There's 2v2 tournaments and stuff, but we still have time to grind Call of Duty, and we're still going to do it. That 1 week doesn't define someone's drive to win over the past 4 years. And I see a lot of people even tweeting like, oh, you guys have had past success, you'll be fine. Like, I appreciate the support, but we don't need that as a crutch. We're going to be fine. We're still going to win more tournaments. I don't need to hear about how much we won in Modern Warfare 3 or Black Ops 1. We're still going to win tournaments. And it should just be known that we all agreed that we were not going to scrim in that 1 week.
Yeah.
And that we're still going to beat people's ass.
And just because you play for 1 week and your teammates aren't playing doesn't mean you want to win more than the other 3.
Yeah,
That was one thing that bothered us personally. Scump actually took that to heart. You know, he struggled with that because people are just telling us that Joey's the backbone of the team. Joey wants to win, and Joey's the captain of the team, and that's perfectly fine. And you know, I don't mean to sound like we're bashing Joey when we talk about these things, but we all want to win just as bad as him, and we've all put our time into Call of Duty, and we paid our dues, and we're here just as much as him trying to win. So that's one of the misconceptions that we wanted to get out of the way. Just because we're playing Minecraft, you know, 2 or 3 days for a couple hours out of the week, doesn't mean that we don't want to win. We want a championship. We have the drive. We have the motivation, and that's why we parted ways with MerK, so that we could show you guys that we want to win. Like, we're here. It's gonna happen. I mean, you guys think that we're just sitting over here, you know, just playing Minecraft, you know, just living life casually. We don't care about anything. We want to win. And we've said it multiple times, and I don't know how many times we're going to have to say it. Obviously, we're going to have to prove it, but we're here to win. We have the drive, we have the motivation, and it's going to happen.
And can I just reiterate the fact that our next tournament still, at this point right now, is not for another month and a half. Like, we still have that much time to practice. I don't understand why we've gotten so much flack for, you know, playing different games. Like Matt said, we have put in so many hours, making videos every day, live streaming every day. We've put in so many hours of Call of Duty at this point. We know how to play the game. Like, we know the ins and outs. We know everything, basically, about Black Ops 2.
Thousands of hours.
We know how to play the game.
You've been competing
It's
since
just
2008.
Call of Duty is Call of Duty. Call of Duty will never change. You'll always have that natural instinct when you get it. It'll always be there. And the fact that we picked up a new teammate, that honestly reignites the fire under me to want to scrim and just prove people wrong, because that's something that I love doing. All the people that doubt us, you know, I want to win.
I mean, you guys think we're washed up. We don't
Okay.
care.
Just to reiterate. No, you're good. I'm just saying.
We apologize for going on a rant.
I still have something to talk about as well.
We apologize for going on a rant.
Well,
This
get it
stuff-
over with.
This stuff's just really important to us.
Okay, the last thing I want to talk about, the other day I tweeted out something. This was not a pure, I put that word in there, pure skill evaluation. Obviously, you've heard all of the other reasons, and I also heard a lot of bullshit like, you guys aren't going to tell us the truth, like in this video. This is literally 100% truthful. This is everything that has happened from point A to point B. So, I mean, I want to get that out of the way too, because that's sort of grinding my grits. But I just want to talk about the past couple tournaments. Obviously, Joey is a very good player. Joey is a great player. He's won multiple tournaments, multiple championships under the OpTicBigTymeR organization. But the last couple tournaments, his performances have been iffy. I'm not going to say he played bad, but his performance definitely hasn't been on par with how it's been for the rest of the season. Because I remember at Call of Duty Championships, Joey played freaking phenomenal. Joey did so well. He clutched so many rounds in SND. Like, that's the one thing that stands out to me about Call of Duty Champs, is how many rounds that Joey clutched for us, especially against Impact. That's the team that I'm really thinking about. But yeah, I'm saying it's not a pure skill evaluation, but skill definitely, the past couple tournaments has had a little bit of an impact on our decision.
We just feel like with JCap, who has been considered one of the best players in the Call of Duty franchise ever since Black Ops 1, is that if we just have a little bit of a AR slaying presence, just a little bit more, just that extra push, who's going to put up more kills in hardpoint, defend the flag a little bit better in capture the flag, it's going to help us pick up those maps and series that we really need to win. That's going to catapult us into the finals of every tournament, hopefully, and help us win matches.
I know. And to answer the question whether or not he's going to be moving into the house, he's got a couple of health issues that he's got to get under wraps, and we're going to try to get him out here as soon as possible. And we know that this video has gone long enough, so you know I personally just want to have a closing statement that says, you know, Joe, I wish you nothing but the best of luck. I was very concerned about you being sad, and I never want that for any of my teammates, any of my family, anyone. So when it hits close to home, it really bothered me to a point where my fatherly instincts came in and decided to have at least a conversation about whether or not it would be a good time to start looking for another player and make the decision that we made. But again, bro, you're one of my closest friends on from this side of things, and I hope I'm not saying it on a one-sided thing. So thanks for all the good years.
We wish you the best, Joe. We really do.
Yeah.
Sorry for the length of the video, guys. We just want to kind of set the record straight, set the story straight,
Get
if
shit
you will,
out there.
just so that you guys know what really happened. So thank you guys so much for watching. We really do appreciate it, and we hope that you guys continue to support us just like you have in these past 3 years as a competitive team. You guys are the best fans in the world, best followers, and you supported us through thick and thin. So I'm sorry if this team decision kind of struck you the wrong way, but we had our reasons, and we're gonna go win a championship October, and we're gonna go strong in Call of Duty Ghosts.
All right, guys. Thanks.